Do you think about it when you're in the store shopping? Everything you might touch to look at? Huh?
Except the salad bar.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. And I grew up when they didn't have the little covers over them. Yeah, that was fun. Might be why my immune system's kind of tough. But yeah, now you've got like the little covers over buffets and stuff. I was growing up, man, everything was just free reign. So people might say I'm a germaphobe, but I'm not a germaphobe to the point where I got to walk around with this little sanitized stuff because I know how horrible that stuff is. But anyway, once again, we have stuff trying to invade us all the time. So non-specifically, this is great, okay? However, what's going to happen if we encounter something that's going to overwhelm this non-specific defense? Oh, things are going to get interesting when it gets specific. Those little interferons, they are good with viruses. Interferons, now the cell that secretes them, it's not beneficial to that cell. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. With a virus, viruses need a host, okay? And animals, note I said animals, not just humans, okay? But since we're looking at us, okay, we provide an environment that is great for viruses, okay? And there was a long time debate about whether viruses were dead or alive until they got a host, okay? And I remember that debate because that's how old I am. And so if you think about what happens as we go along and we touch stuff and we move and we live, okay, we're constantly touching stuff and then touch our eyes, nose, mouth, all of which provide an environment conducive to the possible virus. All right? So, if we provide an environment that the virus likes, that cell that it encounters, that virus will attach to the membrane of that cell. One of the two ways that it will work, it can inject its genetic material, which is usually RNA, and at the nucleus actually affect our DNA. So that when this one cell becomes two, it has now duplicated with the virus. Or, as it attaches to the cell, it can actually move into the cell and begin to duplicate to the point that the cell will burst. And when that cell bursts, it will attack the cells that are around it. So depending upon the virus determines its mode of action. Now, the goal is to keep that from happening. So when the cell gets infected, it can secrete interferons. This cell itself is already invaded. It can't do anything now but secrete the interferon and then let the virus do its job, do its thing. Okay? So, the secretion alerts neighboring cells. It's going to act as paracrine. The alert to the neighboring cells is saying, y'all better watch out, there's a virus here. So, make antiviral proteins. So this cell, I guess in ways to think of it, takes one for the team. Okay? And it says to the other ones, create your antiviral proteins because you want to make sure that that virus doesn't come and invade you. So try to attack the genes of that virus or stop it from replicating inside yourself. Interferons can activate natural killer cells, ones that are one of the cells that is first to the site of something trying to invade. Okay, can activate natural killer cells and macrophages because they can come in and do what to the virus? How? If they are macrophages, phagocytosis. They can get to that area where the viruses are located, engulf those viruses, expose them to the lysosomes, and hopefully kill it. Under normal circumstances, you don't even know this. You don't even know it's occurring. Okay? Because these substances, this ability of the body to do this is very accurate. Well, it's a very good mechanism. Okay? When you get sick, for example, a cold, a flu, think of all the viruses that are out there. For some viruses, medication has been developed. We have some antiviral medications that people can be given in times of, say, if they have herpes or shingles or something like that. Something that stays with you for life. You don't get rid of it. Okay? Other viruses that we have, we need to wait for the body to take care of this problem. And in the meantime, you get sick. You might end up with a fever, aches, chills, depending on what the virus is. Okay? So, once again, non-specific, because it's not attacking a specific virus. It's going to work this way no matter what it is. And the hope is that you don't get sick, that the body takes care of it, and you're fine. The complement system. Do you guys remember the globulins? Okay, the little globs of these proteins that are in the blood. Okay, once again, non-specific, but they can also help with adaptive immunity. Okay, because adaptive, think about mom when she gives birth, you know, some of her immunity is passed along because it's there to protect the child for a certain amount of time until they start getting vaccines, getting exposed, their thymus gland gets activated, blah, blah, blah. Okay? In non-specific resistance, I keep saying it acts the same way every time. We'll get some inflammation. We need immune clearance. We need stuff to get eaten up, phagocytosis, and we need cells to burst. This is what the system wants to do. The system wants to take whatever that pathogen is and kill it. That's the goal of this right here.
How would it act if it was a positive feedback?
Now, if you're thinking of like the cells of the body being positive feedback, meaning these cells that are going to get produced, that are going to help kill it, actually that would be some positive feedback in there, because we need those cells to duplicate, replicate, make more, and that sort of thing. So that would be a positive feedback in a way. I don't think they refer to it as positive feedback, though, as a whole. But if you're thinking positive, negative feedback, it is a positive feedback cycle that's occurring. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Because those cells are needing to feed the cycle, meaning reproduce, create these chemicals, get rid of this problem. And as long as that is kept in check, which the body does, we don't form, you guys ever heard of autoimmune disorders?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where this is out of control, because the body's cells that are made for fighting off something, they're now thinking your own body cells are foreign. And that's why it's autoimmune, because it's attacking your own body cells, which of course leads into a whole area of problems. Under this complement system, that would actually be positive also, if we're going to think of it in those terms, because this complement system, it's like if one complement gets activated, it creates a cascade reaction. All right, so let's say if complement 1 got activated, that's going to affect 2. 2 will affect 3. And each time, the product gets more and more. Does that make sense? Okay. Certain things have to be present, though, for it to activate. In other words, all conditions. The body has to have had time to take care of everything else, work on it, and then if that didn't work, then call up this system. Okay? It has what it's called, what they refer to as a classical pathway and alternative pathway, meaning when one of the complements gets activated, it will begin to affect another complement. Because remember, this is a group of proteins. Okay, it's a group. It's more than one. In the classical pathway, it requires an antibody from the blood. Okay? And therefore will make it part of the adaptive immunity. Usually tend to think of mom to baby. What mom has supplied to the child. But it's only good for, what, 2 to 3 months, I think? And that's why at a certain age they start vaccinating so that the child can build up their immunity. That's what they call it. Okay? The alternative pathway doesn't require that antibody and is always associated with non-specific defense. When we get into antibodies,